Thanks, Ernie, for asking our first question here. For those listening or watching, feel free to chime in with any questions or any comments. And we've got Tucker, as always, behind the scene helping out, making sure we get those pulled up. So Ernie Parsons asks, what percent of your business is direct? What percent's through the channel? And how do you balance the channel versus direct?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. And I know, Randy, you have a lot of experience with this as well, but let me give you my experience here. Number one, when we started out at Wyebot, we did all direct. And the reason for that is we're creating this new market segment, as I mentioned, Wi-Fi automation, IT automation. And so we have to build, the demand initially, meaning awareness, and get customers driving demand for the channel partners. If it was in a kind of known traditional business like switches or access points within the networking space, then you wouldn't have to do as much direct because the channel's already familiar with the solution, and you have to articulate the value, the differentiation that you're bringing to help them scale their business. But in our case, we're creating a new segment. And so we started with direct, very, very important. We built up this large customer installed base. And so now we're at an excellent point. We started last year. We got a channel manager, we got a channel partner program manager, and we're driving channel. So to answer the question, we at Wyebot are shifting as we speak, meaning a higher percentage of our business will go through the channel moving forward. And that's what we want. And it's very, very powerful because it'll allow us to scale. And to minimize channel conflict, we reward the channel partners and our sales team. So we don't create, right? We won't create a channel conflict, meaning have our direct sales competing with the channel. We'll work on our individual accounts while we're scaling the channel, but the channel just does deal registration, very common. And when they register a deal, it's their deal. We don't get involved with it at all. So we're going through that transition, and over the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see a much higher percentage of our business shift to the channel.
Yeah. So certainly is a best practice to make sure, usually I call it, comp neutral for the sales teams. That way they get paid the same, whether it goes through the channel or they sell it direct. So that's the way that you do it?
Yes, that's exactly what we do. Yeah, because I don't want it. We've been in the channel a long time. And if you want the channel to be effective, you cannot compete with them. You can't take deals away from them, obviously. So we comp the sales team the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I always, find it amazing whether it's, big company or small company, right? Salespeople, the best ones are wired to partner, but, several times they don't. And you just, so much more effort, obviously, if you're running yourself versus, a partner that you trust that you can work with. And then there's the other side of it too, which is just say from a pre-sale or technical resources, they'll have sales teams over the years, sales reps. Oh, yeah. We need to have more, hire more SCs, hire more SC. Okay, great. How many you want? Well, 1 or 2. I'm like, oh, 10 or 20. Oh, great. It's called the channel. Go channel. They got resources. They're going to help, right? It's just crazy.
Right.
Just the way it's like a control thing or, kind of what it is there. So thanks for that, Ernie. Great answer. So Roy asks, how do you enable your partners to know how to value, not just the features at scale? So maybe start off with, if you're in the elevator for 20 seconds with the CFO at either a customer you have or one that you're selling to, kind of what is that value? What's that value message?
Yeah. So for us, it's, the ROI is mean time to resolution, right? So you're talking to a CIO, they have business critical networks and they need to have those uptime has to be 99.9%, right? In most environments. We're not talking the stock exchange in places where it's even higher, but we're talking high availability. And so our value at Wyebot is we ensure they have high availability, right? And high availability is the ROI. But the key thing to the question is, yes, partners do, for them to be successful, they do need to understand the value and what you're bringing, what problems you're solving and how you're bringing value to the end customer. So we do that with training, right? So we do constant training with all of our partners to educate them on the value. We're not just selling features. That's a hard way to go. And once they understand the value, like our sales team does, then they can be very, very successful. But it does require not only one-time training when you bring them on, but continuous, because you keep enhancing the solution, right? You're adding new features. And so we coordinate quarterly training sessions to focus on the value of the solution to the end customers.
Oh, that's great. And Roy is with Spotlight, who's one of the value selling partners that we have with Sales Community. And Roy, I didn't realize our ROI within his name as well. So I'm sure he has some fun with that. So Ernie and Roy, thanks so much for the questions. Again, anybody watching or listening, feel free to chime in with any other questions. We've got Roger Sands, the CEO of Wyebot, on. So in thinking about with the technology partnerships, any other things that come to mind?
Yeah, there's a couple of things, right? And I mentioned earlier that they can be difficult and challenging. So you do have to be careful, right, in selecting technology partnerships. A lot of them don't work, right? I want to set that up front. A lot of them don't work. They have to be mutual beneficial, right? Probably stating the obvious here, but for both sides, right? It can't be one way. Everybody's got to be able to gain and scale with the technology partnership. And what's really critical is the partner, the technology partner, the sales team has to be incentivized, right? They got to be motivated like your sales team to make it successful. Now, if it's integrated, right? If you've integrated your technology, your solution, whatever it is, tightly with that, partner, then it's going to be a lot more straightforward for the sales team, because it'll be a bundled package or just a value added capability of what they're already selling. But those tend to take longer, right? You're doing joint development, you're doing integration, you're doing OEM work, okay? But they can be very successful once you go forward. If you're doing a lighter touch, that's where you got to be real careful. They can be successful, but you got to be real careful, because if the sales team on the receiving end is not incentivized and motivated, they're not going to focus on it. They've got their core business. They know their core business. They've likely been trained and motivated to sell their core business, and they're going to go focus on that. And this other new piece, okay, unless it really can drive substantial growth and hit their quotas, then they're probably not going to spend time on it. So there's a number of different variations, from the light touch to the medium touch, which is not a full OEM, but maybe some technology integration, all the way to an OEM technology partnership.
That's great. And, one of the keys too in there, I always find, which helps being successful, is doing joint sales calls as well. So you can do all the training you want, but maybe back to, Roy's question about, make sure that, partners understand the value. I mean, there's no better way than having one of your reps going with a partner rep to one of the, partner accounts, to then kind of see in action kind of saying what to do and how the customer reacts, right?
Yeah, Randy, that's very, very important. In fact, today with our channel partners, we do that, right? We offer it, we do that. I'm not saying we get all of them, because like you said, some of the channel partners don't necessarily always pull you into some of the deals, right? But absolutely, especially in the first year, right? Where they're getting to really get comfortable. You want that solution to be part of their core, part of their portfolio that you're just going out and selling every day. And so participating and doing these live joint sessions is extremely, extremely important. And in our case, right, we have the benefit where we do free trials, as I mentioned earlier. And so we even with our partners, our technology partners, will ship out a system for them to be able to evaluate in their environment. And that's a great example where we can do a joint tech session with the CIO, with the IT leaders, combined with the channel partner and or technology partner, so everybody can get a win here to see how the value is, as was asked earlier.
Wow, that's awesome. And then a lot of times too, I won't put you on the spot, but a lot of those OEM partnerships then typically are with larger companies, and that can also lead to acquisitions or investments as well.
Yeah, those can be, I mean, again, selecting the partners that make sense from a, especially with an OEM, you're looking for partners that you hope go for years, right? Really drive value, scale the company, allowing you to bring in business so that then organically you can scale faster, right, into different geographies, different product segments, et cetera, and then start doing your own acquisitions,
Yeah.
right, to broaden the portfolio. So yeah, having those right partners, whether it's an investment, acquisition, all can be important, right? From our point of view, we're not focused on acquisition, Randy. We're in such an exciting space. We're focused on scaling the business. As I mentioned, you asked that earlier, but it does open up opportunities for investment and other technology relationships that could be valuable.
Awesome. And I don't think it's for, but if you go to on sales community on the advisory board, which you're on, appreciate it. Thank you. But there's also a section that's under the advisory board drop down called channel. So there's I don't know how many, but there's probably a couple dozen channel company executives that are on the advisory board. So just know I know those folks well. And obviously, lots of others besides that. But if any of those are candidates, I'm certainly happy to help with any introductions. So,
No, appreciate that. Excellent. I'll check it out. Yeah.
So feel free.